Good morning. It's Memorial Day weekend. It's Saturday. It's about 7:30. Nice day out. Sun's in the sky. Mountains in the horizon. And we're here. I think this might be my last episode for this season. I did a pick harvest, and I think the green beans are done. The zucchini, I think, are wrapping up, but the eggplants are still going. And I'll show you those in a minute. I did line up the tomatoes. And actually this is half of what I've picked so far. What I do is I take these in when they're starting to ripe. And because the hot desert sun is coming up here in about a week or two. Temperatures are averaging in the hundreds now. I went ahead, I picked them when they're greener, just starting to turn, and I put them on the windowsill. And probably within 3 or 4 days, they're beet red, and you're able to eat those. What I do is I lay down some paper bags, and I just put them on the paper bags, and they seem to do really well there near the window. This brand, I don't really recommend it. It's Genuine Beefsteak. And the Genuine, this is a hybrid. It comes from two different types of tomatoes. One is trying to remember the last one. There's a tomato called Genevieve, and another one that is like Brandywine or something like that. They hybrid both of them together, and they came up with a new variety called Genuine. And one of the problems that I noticed for me is that it quickly started browning. And also, what I may want to do is turn back. I have a watering drip, and I think what I need to do is, this one I think is turned off, but I need to crank it back a little bit because I think they're getting overwatered. And you can tell that because of the splitting that it does. They're just getting too much water. That's part of the problem. I need to see how I can turn down the water on some of these. Again, I could do it by tightening up the end of it where the water drips out. I'll have to check into that, but definitely too much overwatering, I believe. But they did, I mean, the plant did. Sorry guys, my camera gave out and I don't know where I stopped. We were talking about determinate and indeterminate. I was showing you the tomatoes. And the fact that we went to can, which I think will start next spring, next year, we're going to use determinate varieties. The big red tomato variety is what we're going to use. With determinate, there's a set range for harvesting where your plants are ready and all of the fruit should be ready at one time. That's determinate. So with canning, they recommend that you go with a determinate tomato plant so that when you're ready to can and harvest, all your fruit are there available for you at one time. Indeterminate just means that you can snack on it throughout the year when it grows and it turns green. Now they say that this variety, I believe, is an indeterminate, but I noticed that all the fruit kind of came on. It kind of acted like a determinate to me. But I don't know. What do I know? I'm a beginner. Cherry tomatoes, again, this cherry tomato, seeing better days. But, you know, it's getting hotter out. We're averaging in the hundreds now, so I guess I can't expect miracles as far as the tomatoes go. But we got a pretty good harvest. Like I said, we leave it on the table by the window indoors, and within a couple of days they're beet red, and we just cut around the cracks in the tomato. Again, that's probably from overwatering. I'll need to turn back the water a bit. Here is the eggplants. These guys were late bloomers. Look at all that. It was like all of a sudden we get tons of eggplant that are growing. So the eggplant looks good, looks healthy. It's probably going to last into the middle of June. I'm just letting these eggplants get bigger. And then I'll probably try to find a couple recipes, one for eggplant, pickled eggplant, and another where you can cut it up and freeze it. We'll have to see. The beans, I went through and picked them, and you saw earlier how much I harvest, which was barely anything. Even though they're blooming, I don't think they're really going to produce much more. I think they're on their way out. That's fine. We've got about almost 5 gallons of green beans just out of this section. For me, I would recommend in this area that you can go with the contenders, which is this half, and they'll produce fruit for you. But I didn't like the beans because they were curly, and the texture of them was kind of, you know, the pods. I just didn't like them. The pods didn't have a tender chew to it, more fibrous. The one I would highly recommend is the Provider. Do the Provider. You get really nice, thin, strong, meaty green beans. And I think you'll be more happier with these. These are straighter, so they're easy to prepare. Or even this year, what we did was we blanched a lot of ours and froze it in the freezer. We did a quick freeze, and I'll put the instructions on how we did it in the description of this video. But turned out that all the green beans, they didn't freeze together, so they're in a Ziploc, and you can reach in and grab however many you want easily. I'm really proud of the zucchini, even though they had problems with this end rot. But I have been able to get a few that are nice. So I'm happy with that. I do recommend tying up your plant because as you can see here, it just keeps it up off the ground and gives you a lot of air movement. And because of that, look at those leaves. Last year, the year before, these plants would be brown and definitely not producing still. So I do recommend tying them up. That was on a previous video that I did. Just get them up off the ground. Be sure to go through and clip off a lot of the older stems that aren't really doing the plant much good, because you get a lot of new growth at the end of it. There's another one down there. Peppers. I could really harvest these jalapenos. Harvest more. I might come out with my daughter and do that and give them some fresh jalapenos. And then the bell peppers, I think they're on their way out. We'll have to see what this clump does. But I have not seen any other development for any other fruit, especially on this black back one. So we'll have to see on those. And here's the onions. Need to go through and rip these out. This was the spinach that came up voluntarily. Nobody really wanted to eat it. So instead of wasting, instead of wasting the growing space, I don't think I'm going to do it for a while. If I do, try growing smaller batches of them. But look at that red onion. Getting big. Back here, do you see how the onion has pretty much fell over? That's when you know it's time to harvest. So those can come out. And I need to research. I think basically what you do is you just hang them up and let them thoroughly dry out. And then you can store them or cut them up and freeze them. This is my first time growing onions. I'm pretty proud of them. They did a really good job. Here again is the bolted. Oh, Bear came to say hi. Okay, well, in the dog poop. That's pretty much it, guys. Again, I'll have some follow-up videos, but this might be the last one showing you the garden for this season. Thanks for tuning in. I'll keep you updated with our strategies for next growing season. Until then, have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Honor those you love and cherish in your family. They're not with us anymore. My love to all of you. Bye.